Thank you for tuning in to Rayleigh's Small Engines. This is going to be part 3. We're going to put all this back together. Part 1, we diagnosed this machine. Part 2, we tore it down, found a bent push rod and a broken camshaft. So today we're going to put it back together for you guys. So y'all check out the first part and the second part if you haven't seen it. Y'all stay tuned. We're going to get on this thing, see if we can make her run. Thanks for tuning in, folks. And I will put a link in the description for part 1 and part 2. This is a Husqvarna Zero Turn that we're working on. And we're going to get this thing put back together and hopefully get her run. All OEM parts. Don't use that Chinese camshaft. Well, I'm not going to bore y'all with watching me clean gaskets and all that. So let me get these gaskets cleaned up and get this machine rinsed out in the vat. And once I get this engine all cleaned out, I'll get right back with you guys. Okay, before I get this washed, we're going to take this oil pump out and knock this seal out. And I'll tell you why. Because we want to get oil out. It's easier to put this cover on with this oil pump out of the way. That way you don't have to line up the gear and sit there and fiddle around with that. You can just put the cover on and you can pop it all in after the fact. So let's get this popped out. Your seal, you might can pry this way. Most of the time I'm going to flip the cover over and knock it out from the back side. Pop this cover out, and what I like to do is turn it upside down, and then when I flip this over, I'm going to catch these pieces, okay? And that way, and I'll flip them. That way when I put it back together, I'm going back the exact same direction they were heading before. They should both fall out of my hand right there. Just go and lay it right there in that trough. Here's the screen. It pops out. It just slides in. Not a big deal. But see, I can't keep clean hands, can I? Take a rag. It don't matter. You're going to get dirty. You're going to get dirty. And there's your seal. You want to keep in mind where this seal is. There is a ridge on this machine. There is a ridge here, okay? Now, there is an oil port down here as well. But this one, some of the engines you can knock the seal in too far. This one, that ridge is going to stop it before it gets there. So let's get this thing in the vat and get it cleaned up, and we'll start putting this thing together. All right, fun parts washing. Well, my last video, someone fussed at me for messing up a SK socket. So this is a snap-on 36mm deep wall. This is actually for the front axle nut on a car. But yeah, I ground it down for something else. But it fits my seal pretty close. So we're going to use this to install this seal. But yeah, I looked that socket up. I'm like, dang, that thing was $65. You're doing these seals, just take your time, work it around nice and even. It's a little bit smaller than the seal, so I'm just going to work it side to side, work my way around, take my time and keep it even and straight. Not one of those things you want to rush. I know y'all hear me say that all the time, but sometimes things turn out better if you take your time. Oh, you hear that? It bottomed out. Bottomed out. You hear the difference in the sound and you'll know. All right, let's stand by and we're going to get ready to drop this cover on. So first off, we're going to talk about compression release. Now, if you can see this tab right here, see how it sticks up higher? Now what's happening, you lift her, tap it, hitchimo, whatchamacallit, thingamabob that pushes the push rod, you know. Anyway, it's going ding, 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 ding as it bumps this cam. But what happens, this just cracks this valve open every time it passes, and that's your compression release. The way this works, when your engine is running, it's spinning faster, right? So what it does is kicks this counterweight, and I'm going to show you. Watch right here. When it goes faster and faster, see that thing drop down out of the way? It drops right down out of the way, and watch it come back up. That's what happens when the engine stops. So what it's doing is it's bumping those valves. You've got one here and one here. One for this intake valve, one for that intake valve. So pretty simple. You know, I haven't seen many of these break like those single cylinders. So let's put this thing together. Y'all have heard enough jibber jabbering, haven't you? So what we're gonna do, I use a little stick magnet. I don't know how clean it is. Let's try and get it clean. Get us a little oil, and we're gonna oil these things up. Put it, well, if I can get some oil out of it. Put some down in there where the cam's going. A little bit on your tap it, lift or hitchy-mo. And I'll stick this on right here. It makes it a little easier to get it back in. Push it in with your finger. I know it's gonna be difficult for you guys to see this. Y'all bear with me. We're gonna get these things in. Maybe it'll do it without the magnet if I can see the hole. There we go. There we go. And you can use assembly lube. I use whatever oil's in here. I don't know what's in this thing right now. It's lubricant. You just don't want to be firing this thing up dry, right? So what I like to do, I found my dot on my crankshaft. I can see it right here, and I'll show you this closer in just a minute. I'm gonna line it up to the top toward about where that cam is gonna be, and then we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna lube this camshaft up. Just put some oil all over it and on the end. Not worried about the top right now. And you're gonna line up, there's gonna be a little dot, and you're gonna line this dot up with that dot, and I'll show you what it looks like in just a second. See if I can get her dropped in. There she is. All right, let me get you a little closer shot. See how clean that is in there? That's how clean you want it. Lay your sandwich on it and eat it. See your dots right here? They are lined up. We are timed correctly. This is your governor. It does not matter. It's not timed. Just get it in the doggone gear and you'll be okay. When you're doing these engines, make sure you do not lose these locator pins. You can pull them out while you're cleaning gaskets and then put them back in. I like to put them on the block side, and then that helps me line my gasket up when I set it on. So let's move on to the next step. This is our OEM crankcase gasket set. Will come with a set of bolts. Be very careful opening this. This paper is sticky, and the reason they do that is to keep this gasket from sliding all over the place. So just be very careful you don't tear your gasket. Use the new bolts. Do not reuse your old ones. Now it will come with this piece of paper. It's going to tell you the torque spec. 325 inch-pounds. Do it a third, then 2/3, and then the full. So I'm going to convert it over to foot-pounds because I'm going to use a foot-pound wrench. And all you do is take the 325 divided by 12, gives you 27.08. And then, just for sake of even numbers, I'll do like 9 pounds, 18 pounds, 27 pounds. Okay? And you'll follow the foot sequence. Basically, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at the bottom, 9 and 10, and go over it and over it and over it until you get done. All right, so we're going to place our gasket down on our locator pins. governor, it'll be out of the way enough. So next thing we're going to do is put a little oil around our crankshaft. That way our oil seal slides right down. We're going to put a little oil in here, a little oil over here, a little oil, little oil, little oil. It's good enough. Okay. All right, so I'm going to turn our governor up this way and kind of hold that. And we're going to ease this down into position. I'm going to go slow because we don't want to roll that oil seal, then we'll have a whole nother issue to deal with. Now the governor should catch that, so don't worry about it. And just slowly work your seal with a screwdriver. Because if you roll it and that little spring pops out of the back, then you're going to have fun putting it back in. A little bumpy bump, just take your time with it, it'll go sooner or later. Wiggle jiggle on the crank, there she goes. All right, well, let's get this thing together. Pop our bolts in, and I'll show you an easy way to remember the torque sequence on these bolts. It's not rocket science, it's just a, I don't know, what am I working on, a Briggs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, blah, blah, blah. I can count. How about that? Y'all believe that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, he's starting bolts with the impact. Oh my God, y'all stand by a minute. So next, get out your Torque-O-Lator 6000 flex head super hitchy-mo thingamabob. Torque-O-Lator these things down and work your way up in thirds. Start out at 9, 18, and 27 foot-pounds. You can do the math on that other way. I don't care. This is what I do. Y'all do it how you want to. This is how I do it. So that's the 2/3. That's I don't know, about 18, 19 pounds. Now we're going to jump it up to 27. I'm going to go around these a couple more times and I'll be right back with you. One more thing, back these things down to the lowest setting before you put your tool up. That takes the tension off that spring in there. You don't want them sitting at 20, 30, 50, 80, 4,000 foot-pounds or whatever. We're going to drop our screen in here somehow. It goes like this. Drop that bad boy in there. We'll take our oil pump shaft, and this is going down into the cam. It'll fall into a position there. We're going to take our, and I flipped it back the way it needs to go, and we're going to put our oil pump in, spin it around, falls right into place. Make sure you keep all this nice and clean. Let's go ahead and put a little oil to it. And I like to do a little bit around. Ain't gonna hurt a thing. And you can see the wear pattern of where that oil pump was riding, going back in the same position. Now I am going to take and put a little dab of blue Loctite on here. Oh, that's more than a little dab, isn't it? Whoops. And then we'll tighten these bad boys down. Now these I don't torque, there probably is a torque spec. I don't know. Never had a problem. We'll run these down. Those I did start like that. Somebody will say, oh, you can't do that. Well, watch me, I just did. And I'm just making sure they're good and tight. Good and tight. Awesome. All right, let's talk about the governor. It's either right or it's wrong. Throttle is wide open, throttle is off, okay? That's down to idle. This is back wide open. You can look up there at your idle screw if you want, up there at the carburetor. This thing will move. If you get it wrong, it's gonna lock it up and it won't move. Watch. All right, there it is all the way the other way, holding the throttle, hold my little vice grips with my thumb. Now watch, it will not move. That's exactly the opposite of where it needs to be. So keep that in mind when you're setting these, because you'll crank it up and it'll scream wide open. Now I've got the throttle pulled, I hold here, and then tighten down. Now it works correctly, okay? So now you know. So next we need to get our push rods and our rocker arm back in there. That's not gonna fit. Stupid thing. Let's see what we can do. Yeah, got that fixed, didn't I?
Come on, y'all, click subscribe.
So the two push rods, see if I can focus in here. You'll notice, you'll see them when you're holding them in your hand. There's definitely a difference in size. Steel one and aluminum. Your steel one goes to the exhaust side, okay? Your aluminum is your intake. So steel is down and out. Intake is up top and in, because your fuel goes in, you're going aluminum. Stand by, let's pop these in. So we're going to slip them right into the lifters, tappets, things, whatever. This, that, and the other. Slide them right in. Then we're going to take a little bit of, I'm going to put a little blue Loctite on these. Because if it ever ends up here again, somebody got to take it apart, it'll be me. We'll slide this up here. Line that up. Simple. Don't overcomplicate it. It's just a Briggs. I think that's what I'm working on. I don't know. There you go. Now we're lined up on the nuts there, and all we got to do is snug these down, and then I'll show you how to adjust them. I am sure there is a torque spec on these. I've done a bunch. If you haven't, look it up. And you can torque them to the specifications. Okay, to give you a closer look at the tappets down there where the push rods go. See if I can get you focused in down here. There you go. That's the correct position of those. Okay, I hope you guys can see all right. We're going to adjust these valves, and I'm just going to reach my hand over here on the flywheel and crank this over, and one of these valves will open. You get, this is your exhaust opening all the way, coming back up. I'm going to back it up just a little bit. That's as wide open as that exhaust valve will get. Now what you want to do is take your 13 M&M millimetric wrench, and we're going to need to break this lock nut loose like that, and this will be a T40. Your machine may be different. They make different kinds on different ones. Now that we've got that loose, we're going to check our clearance. Spec on these is 4 to 6 thousandths on this particular engine, intake or exhaust. Now, me personally, I set them all to 4. Somebody's going to make a comment, about, oh, that's not spec, blah, 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 whatever. Listen, I'm doing it the way I do it. If you don't like it, do it the way you want to. So, this is just how I do it. We've got a good drag on that right now. I'm going to put us a little bit of lubrication on our feeler gauge here, just because it makes it slide easier in here. Help you get a better reading. Wiggle this around. Now, I just adjusted this a little bit there. We're going to tighten this up. What you're going to want to do is hold that center, and then you'll tighten the lock nut. I'm going to recheck one more time here. Got a nice drag there. And my feeler gauge will probably fall out. And I'm going to hold this centerpiece while I tighten it. Okay. See, I told you it would fall out. Nice drag on it. Now, we'll rotate it over. This one's going to open. See the intake open? Coming back up. That's all the way open. Ooh, that one's still tight. We're going to loosen this lock nut. That lock nut was not very tight at all. I lost him a little bit. Let's see if we can get 4 thousandths on this one. Right about there. Now I moved it all over the place. What you're going to do when you do this, do it, set it, tighten it down. Then you're going to want to rotate your engine around again and check it again. Check it over and over. Do it 2, 3, 4 times to make sure that you have it right. I think that moved a little bit. Ooh, sweet. That's perfect. And like I said, rotate the engine over. Recheck them. Do it again. Recheck them. Now, we're going to move on to the next step here and get some valve coverage on here. Okay, one more thing I'm going to show you. We're going to roll this engine over some more. I want you to watch this valve, or rocker arm. See the little bump? All right, now we're opening exhaust, opening intake. Now watch, you're going to see a bump in this one. See that bump? That's how you know your compression release is working. Now the valve's open all the way. Intake, bump. See the little bump? Watch it. That's how you know your compression release works. Now let's get our valve cover on. And this one, we're going to use some sealer. You can use whatever kind you like. And we're just going to put us a bead around here and then get it set on. I don't like to overdo it because I don't like that stuff coming out all over the place. One more note, when you're doing a compression test on these engines, don't expect a massive amount of compression to show up running a compression test, because it has a compression release. Fastest way to find out if you got enough compression for your engine to run, or an easy way, because you're going to end up probably 40 to 60 or something, and not 125 or 150. So anyhow, the fastest way, I'll shoot a little brake cleaner in there, and if it'll fire off, we got enough compression, in my opinion. You'll know if it's smoking and all that. So I'm rambling here, and I'm not doing a very neat job of this, but the point is that it seals. Now when I do these, I'll run the screws up just a little bit and then allow it to set overnight before I actually fire the engine up, because I want this stuff to cure. And this is your pulse line for your fuel pump. I'm not going to worry about hooking that up right now. I just want to get these bolts in here without this thing sliding and messing up my RTV, because I surely don't want an oil leak. Alright. Well, we're just going to run these up. I'm not going to fully tighten them. I'm going to run them down and I'm going to let it sit about an hour. And then I'll come on around and get it a little snugger. Then after snugger, do you like that word? Anyway, then I'm going to... Tomorrow I'll tighten them on down by hand with my little ratchet or whatnot. So anyhow, y'all stand by. Let me get this other side done. I'll be back with you. All right, folks, there she is. I got her back together. There's all our leftover pieces we replaced. And let's get this thing back on the machine and see if she'll fire up. Help me, baby, help me. There she is. Tell everyone hi.
Hey, y'all.
All righty. Let's see if I can get everything hooked back up now, and we'll go see if it runs. Well, it's that time. Let's see if she'll run. See if we're going to kill her. Well, almost ran. She's gone now. She's not going to mess with us no more. Y'all stand by. I got an announcement to make. Well, I tell you what, we've got to say thanks to all of you, all of our viewers. We finally hit 1,000 subscribers. We really appreciate it. I tell you, we're going to give back. We're going to do a 1K giveaway. We're going to do it in 2 weeks. We're going to give away, first prize, a $40 Amazon gift card. I don't care what country you live in, you're getting one. To that winner. Second prize, $20 Amazon gift card. We want to say thank you to everyone out there. Now, down in the comments on this video, the way you enter is type in hashtag 1K giveaway. I'm going to put it right here in the screen. It's also going to be in the description down here. So 1K giveaway, hashtag 1K giveaway. Don't forget, put it in the comments, guys. 2 weeks. Not this coming Thursday, which is Thanksgiving, but the following Thursday. 2 weeks. At the end of that day is closed off, and then we'll see a video coming up that following day. I should have it out Friday or Saturday, and you'll know if you won. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in to Rayleigh's Small Engines. We'll see you next time.